worsen wildfires and heat waves and flooding and storms and lots of other kinds of negative impacts. And the absence of federal leadership means that it's all the more important for state and local governments to do everything they can to address climate change. In 2008, the town of Newcastle proudly became the first climate smart community as declared by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. I don't think that the town of Newcastle now wants to be known as the first municipality in Westchester County to impose a moratorium on solar installations. I did not stand up to speak against the moratorium on battery storage facilities. As the fire chief said, battery storage facilities can pose a safety hazard because of fires. The solar installations do not have any such danger. I think there is no need for a solar moratorium, and it sends the wrong message. So I hope that you do not enact this moratorium. And with your permission, I'd like to enter into the record and pass out this report, rebutting 33 false claims about solar, wind, and electric vehicles.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't want to challenge your knowledge. You certainly know a lot more than I do in this area, but I just want to make a couple points.
Thank you.
No one's denying it, meaning saying no. A moratorium is vastly different, and it's also, we wouldn't be the first to institute a moratorium on solar installations. It's very limited in its capacity. And as I'm trying to be a good law student, thinking out loud as you're going through some of the things you shared, it very well may be true, and I don't doubt it, that 1 acre, for example, of solar energy or solar systems would be more efficient in protecting against things like CO2 and the adverse impacts. But what it doesn't consider, just in that example, is what about the insects and the habitat and the squirrels and the birds and things like that and the pollinators that get destroyed. So when we're comparing apples to apples, there's a bigger picture to look at here. Fortunately, as I understand it, we have nothing going on right now. There hasn't been any applications. And then specifically in our town, we're trying to undergo a study for the parking lot, for example, in our public land, and figure out what we want to do with it. So we wouldn't want to see installations. It may very well be that tomorrow, proverbially, whether that means tomorrow literally or months or a year down the road, that's a great place for it. And I think it could very well be, because this town board and those before it do support or does support these applications. We're just trying to figure out the best way to handle it, and I can't profess to be so versed in it that I could have the answer, and that's why we're trying to find it. And no way am I challenging your knowledge and your experience at all. I'm just trying to think out loud that 6 months is not a denial. 6 months is let's figure it out, because your ideas might very well be the right ones. We just got to figure out how to get there and do it the right way. And since there's nothing happening now, and the biggest place being the parking lot is something we're studying, I think it's sort of no harm, and I don't want anyone to think the message we're trying to send intentionally or accidentally is that we don't support what you just spoke to, which is better environmental policies going forward and leading by example. So
Okay, thank you for your public comment.
Okay. Thank you.
Before we take any other comments, I would just like to put something into perspective. Today, at this public hearing, we're not trying to determine the benefits and advisability of installing solar arrays and solar systems. We are simply addressing the issue of the 6-month moratorium. All of the benefits that we've just heard of are precisely the kind of testimony that we would be looking for during the 6 months and during that study. So the only question at hand here is whether we should have a 6-month moratorium, not whether solar installations are good or bad or anything in between. Those are comments we will take during the 6-month period.
I just wanted to thank
yeah.
you for your distinction between solar energy and the lithium battery storage, because I in our conversations, we do recognize that there is a significant difference there, and we do acknowledge that solar seems to be quite safe. But to Jeremy and Vicky's point, we need the 6-month moratorium to make sure that the way we go about it in this town is best for the community, not because we don't want it, not because we're not committed to doing everything that we can to prevent climate change from happening or mitigating the effects. But I do appreciate you drawing this distinction between the solar and the lithium battery and providing us with your expertise. Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah.
And
in
number
fact,
6
we
actually
did,
addresses that issue I raised.
Yeah, so but in fact, the distinction was provided by the fact that there were two separate public hearings. So we understand that distinction. So thank you for the very substantive comments, and we would like to ask that you come back and provide them again when the time is right to study the substance of the issue. Okay. Any other public comments from the audience? No? Okay. Any public comments online? Any hands raised?
Sorry, Paul Iden again, the fire chief. I just would like to ask the town to use the 6-month moratorium period to look at the fire safety perspective as well. Now granted, a solar field is not as prone to a fire emergency as a fossil fuel type facility, but they do happen. And as the industry is getting larger and larger, you're getting more demand for solar panels, more demand for infrastructure those panels are built upon, not always necessarily built by the most reputable builders. So to make sure that Mr. DePaul and Bancroft have enough time to come up with a proper way to measure, is this a proper installation? Is this installation pose any risk to the firefighters? This goes hand in hand with a brush fire. If there happens to be a brush fire and you've got vegetation around these solar panels, how does the firefighter fight those fires? Those solar panels are always energized. There's no way to shut off a solar panel per se, so there are risks that are posed to first responders in combating fires, and if there is a battery energy storage system attached to a solar panel, a solar field, how are we going to make sure that that BESS is housed in such a way that it's safe for people servicing the panels, combating potential fires, etc. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Vicky, I do want to, I just want to say,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Gerard, thank you so
Yes.
much. I was not being dismissive of you whatsoever. And I hope you don't think that for a moment. This is one of the points I raised about taking down the trees. You actually have something here to that point, number 6. So I do really appreciate it. No way was I being dismissive. So thank you.
Okay. I see one hand raised. We have Laura Lenahan. Yeah, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, thanks for, I think I'm unmuted now.
Yes, we can hear you.
I know this is not a Q&A, but I'm unfamiliar with the process during which there's a contemplation of the issues being addressed during the 6-month period. How can the public be aware of it and potentially participate? You don't have to answer my question if you want to send me to the town website and find an easy spot. But the solar panel, particularly in public lots, is of particular interest to me.
Okay, it's a good question. I imagine,
I can
Lena, do
answer
you
just
want to?
briefly, yeah, so
Yeah.
the importantly, I've done many moratorium and studied various legislation as a part of it, but this is the time now where we internally, as a town, our staff, consultants, start reviewing our legislation, how to make it better, how to improve it, as Mr. Gerard said. I'm sure there are ways to improve it, and looking at it already, I'm sure there are ways that we can tweak it. But it's gonna allow us the opportunity to do that, and when we're ready to present the legislation that we feel addresses some of these concerns, it's gonna be presented before your board at a public hearing. The public's gonna come out, have another opportunity to review the legislation that we're proposing as a result of this moratorium. And so my point is the public will have another opportunity to do that once we've done studying it internally in terms of what we believe would be a good, in terms of the zoning criteria, bulk analysis, and where we think this use is best in town and the scope of it after that 6-month period.
Right, so there'll be
Presentation.
presentations.
Yep.
And there will be a public
Public
hearing on the substantive issues. Right
Correct.
now, the public hearing is regarding the 6-month moratorium and the desirability for this 6-month pause. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions online?
No other hands are raised.
Okay. So at this point, do we feel ready to close the public hearing and move on to our 6-month moratorium,
Yes.
having heard public comment?
So moved. Oh, do we have to adjourn it
So
for?
I would like
comment.
a motion to close the public hearing and keep the record open until Friday, January 31st,
At noon.
2025 at noon, for written comments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So we are up to the consent agenda. Jill, do you wanna run us through it?
Sure. Quickly going through it, we got authorization to enter into an agreement with Chapel Central School District for the use of school facilities for our 2025 summer camp that would be William Brook School. Authorization to rent a bathroom trailer, Jackson Station trailer for 2025 summer camp. Authorization to solicit bids for 2025 Camp Bus transportation services. Authorization to purchase an unmarked police vehicle. Authorization to close the following capital projects. 2013-2014 IT equipment upgrades, DPW truck wash facility project, DPW facility fuel dispensing system purchase. Authorization to approve the letter to Westchester County regarding the funds for the vacuum truck at State on East of Hudson. Authorization to use town property for road report. Authorization to approve the 2025-2027 CAI tax mapping contract for the assessor. Authorization to accept the vehicle auction results at DPW. Authorization to enter into a consent and release agreement regarding the Pinnacle Dam. And authorization to approve the stormwater maintenance and easement agreement for Sunshine. We further have retroactive payment of claims for checks dated the 17th and the 24th of January 2025. We have an authorization to hire a deputy town controller, authorization to appoint a planning board alternate. I just didn't remember if we had decided, yes.
Yes.
Authorization to-
we
Wait, is that
need,
part of the
consent
agenda or is
Okay,
that a
yep.
separate?
So we
It's
don't need
number
the
4.
resolution, it's on the consent agenda.
These are proposed actions so that they are, oh, I'm sorry, fine.
It's
Got it,
okay.
not, hang on,
It's not here, but
It's
Jill's
not on
gonna
there.
add it.
It's number 4,
Oh.
Yep,
Okay.
sorry, all good.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Thought it was-
you.
thank you very much.
You're up.
Okay.
Alright. I move to adopt the items 1 through 13 as listed on the consent
Wait,
agenda.
hang on a second,
Oh.
Jill, were you done with the,
I'm done.
we were
Yes.
talking, so, okay.
No, no, all good.
Okay, good, sorry,
That's
go
okay.
ahead, go ahead.
Alright, take 2. I move to adopt the items 1 through 13 as listed on the consent agenda.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Is it late?
You wanna do payment of,
Yeah.
go ahead, you do payment of claims. Ally.
Oh, me, okay. I move to retroactively approve the payment of claims in the amount of $364,624.91 listed on the summary AP check request and detail voucher detail reports, all dated January 17th, 2025. Checks were printed and distributed to each claimant listed on Friday, January 17th.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Can you keep going?
next, okay.
I move to retroactively approve the payment of claims in the amount of $350,338.60 listed on the summary AP check request, check register and detail voucher detail reports, all dated January 24th, 2025. Checks were printed and distributed to each claimant listed on Friday, January 24th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I move to authorize the hiring of Carl Schlegel for the position of Deputy Town Controller within the Controller's Department at the annual salary not to exceed $140,000 with a start date no later than March 3rd of this year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome aboard.
Yes, welcome.
I move to authorize the appointment of Jennifer Bergen as an alternate member of the Planning Board for a one-year term effective February 1st, 2025 to December 31st of this year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jen, you wanna take the last page?
I move to authorize the award of bid for the procurement and installation of a rooftop solar PV system for the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center roof to Rivertown Solar as per their proposal dated December 13th, 2024, in which funding from NYSERDA for the clean energy community in the amount of 170, I assume that's supposed to be a comma, $1,240 will be utilized.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to adopt the following resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the town has received the application and letter of support as well as the recommendation from the town historian for the honorary street naming of Poyland Drive to Mr. Lang's Way, has held a public hearing regarding and has therefore met the required standards as per the honorary street naming policy, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Newcastle lovingly recommends the dedication of Mr. Lang's Way in recognition of Richard Lang and his exemplary citizenship and embodiment of community.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I just wanna say this will be a very special event and I'd like to see if we could do a little ceremony around pulling out. It's so difficult for me to pronounce this the name. Yeah,
I think you said it right.
maybe a scissor, but it's a sign.
Yeah, you're
So
gonna
I don't
need-
know if it's a ribbon or
No,
a
no,
scissor,
I
but
think you need
it
an
will be
accessory.
it will be something, so I would like to plan that
It's
with the town.
And I hope there'll be sandwiches.
Snacks. Jill, did you wanna say?
No. And thank you for Lauren for drafting it so the resolution
It
is
is,
so beautiful.
yeah, thank you for drafting it so beautifully, Lauren.
Yeah, thank you.
That's, yes.
I move to authorize the town.
No, could just, hold on, I
Oh,
apologize,
sorry.
just hold on just a moment.
I got off easy this week.
Just the consent agenda.
I know.
That never happens.
Oh,
At this
alright,
detail.
so what do we do with the waiver?
Motion to for Champagne?
Yeah.
Yeah, just make the motion to accept the waiver of the fee, consolidated
For
rental.
both the
Yeah,
rental
rental.
and the fire chief?
The fire chief, but in lieu of them paying for cleaning and yeah, so
Why don't you do it?
Sorry,
Yeah, I'll do it.
yeah,
Okay.
he's gonna do it, so
So we
just
need
the
a
waiver on
resolution?
Chapac, we
Yeah,
just
so
need a
just for
resolution.
I'll just do a quick resolution right now, so for Chapac, my understanding is they're looking for a waiver of both the rental fee and what else, Joe, what else was it, the fire? You said there was two?
The fire chiefs
The
were
fire
looking
chiefs. Fire
for
chiefs.
a waiver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they would, to waive those two with the understanding that in lieu of that, they will be providing cleaning services for the Chapac and it was one other service they were providing, staffing, right, so
Staffing.
they were gonna be paying for that.
So it's not really a waiver.
It's not really a waiver, right, it's more of they're paying for those services, so in lieu of paying for the rental and for the fire, so that's the motion I would make, so the motion would be to authorize the not to waive, but to allow the Chapac to use the facility without paying the rental fee or the fire, because they are paying for the cleanup and the staffing of that event.
In exchange for
In exchange, right,
services.
correct.
They'll provide the service.
So I'll
Okay.
just so move it.
Yep, just some of it.
Yes.
Wait, I'm sorry,
Second?
that's true for the,
The
Fire
fire
chiefs
chiefs
as well.
Fire chiefs also?
Yeah,
I
is
didn't
that what they
no, I don't think they were the same, was
Were
not
they
my
separate?
understanding.
No,
There's two.
they were separate requests, but it was for the same,
I mean, one is.
Same thing.
for the same kind of waiver exchange of.
Want two motions for that?
Oh,
Two separate
Is
motions?
Is it necessary to do two motions?
They're two separate
They're two separate events, one involves,
right, so make two separate motions, so for the same
Alright then.
for the same request. So I
Okay,
would
may I
say
have a motion to
in exchange
approve the request
from Chapac,
for
The use of
use
Chapac
of
in
Chapac
exchange
Right.
for
by the Westchester County Association of Fire Chiefs
Right.
in exchange for
the use of
the cost of services
services,
and
right,
staff.
and staffing.
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And may I have
Same
the
motion for-
same motion for a performance from Frank Shiner in exchange for payment for services and staff
staff, right.
and a donation of profits. well, not to the town, but
Yeah, it's not-
to the friends.
Just, it wouldn't be the donation, it's just for the rental fee.
For our purposes, it will be the donation of
Right.
yeah,
it's just for,
services and staff.
yeah, he's providing
For the
cleaning
facility.
services and staff, right, in lieu of paying for the rental fee. And
Correct.
Solely as to that,
solely as to that.
yeah, to that last piece by Lino about the services and the rental fee, so moved.
That's it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and we still have
Last
one
one.
resolution,
No, no,
number
Number
number seven.
That's there and there.
Oh,
We don't need it.
seven's not there. Okay.
Are we moving to adjourn or there's another?
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.